Hello, this is Taylor Ellwood with Magical Experiments Podcast. Hello, this is Taylor Ellwood with Magical Experiments Podcast, and today we are going to be talking about the magic of the new year. I always find this holiday very fascinating. It's a secular holiday. Today's December 30th. We're getting ready to ramp up for New Year's Eve, New Year's Day, and even though it is a secular holiday, nonetheless, it is a day that is very powerful in terms of how it grabs the consciousness of people. And of course, a lot of people get ready to go out and party, but then what else do? They usually end up creating New Year's resolutions where they're like, okay, this year I'm going to change X, Y, and Z. What I find fascinating about it the most, though, is that really this is an arbitrary holiday. This is the end of the calendar year 2023 going into 2024. And of course, people are like, well, I hope 2024 is going to be better. But what's really different? Nothing is significantly different. It's just the changing of a numeral. Objectively, that is. But subjectively, we all go through an experience where we experience a transition because we have in our collective consciousness adhered to this notion of the new year. And so the end of a calendar year marks, and the beginning of a new one marks the experience of transition for ourselves. Like, oh, okay, here I go, and I'm going to transform my life. I'm going to transform the way that I work on things. I'm going to change something about myself. So I find this day very, very fascinating, or this experience very, very fascinating on a magical level, because you can also feel the buildup of the energy as people get excited about New Year's. Everyone is going to go out there. They're going to get their alcohol, their champagne, their other things. They're going to get into costume. It's going to be the last big hurrah of the holidays before we settle into the murk of winter. And then, we basically are dealing with winter from then on, from January through to March. And then, we have the advent of spring. Even though this is a secular holiday, it has power to it. I think it's really important in general to acknowledge and understand that a holiday is not made inherently more special by whether or not it's associated with a religion. It is made special by the fact that people mark it as a point of distinction in their lives. Here we are at the cusp of 2024. We're about to begin 2024. Here we are at the end of 2023. We are marking something. We are marking a transition. We are using it to make sense of our lives. So we're looking back on 2023 and we're saying, here's all the things that I need to review. Here's all the things I need to think about this year. What made this a good year? What made this a bad year? And then we're doing the same thing with 2024. What do I hope to accomplish this year? What is my goal for this year? All of these are very important distinctions and points of tension within our lives that help to shape who and what we are, magically, spiritually. And so any day where we have this kind of significance, whether it's a personal day, and people do have personal days as well, like your day where you met the love of your life, the day where you got married, the day when you got divorced, the day, someone else's birthday, all those other things. All of these become moments of power and tension within our lives. And then you have a mass moment of power and tension, and that is a day like today. Well, not today. A day like tomorrow, or a day like the day after, which is to say New Year's Eve and New Year's. Today is just December 30th. People are getting ready, but it's not that big of a deal. It's just another day. Remember that the most significant aspect of all of this is how you choose to mark your experience here. And what will people ultimately do? They'll come up with, as I said, New Year's resolutions and stuff. Now, that's not my particular practice. What I like to do, I like to create a collage. So I'm going to create a 2024 collage. My 2023 collage will get retired. It was the year of saying yes to myself. And if I look back on it, I would say that I did a good job of saying yes to myself for much of the year. There were moments and times where I didn't maybe say yes as much as I could have, but I did say yes overall to myself. I'm pretty happy with how the year turned out. Um, and I think it'll be interesting to see what theme I'll come up with 2024. The significance of any specific day, though, is that it is a day that we make important subjectively. It's interesting. I was reading in a book, and I'm going to be writing a blog article about this, about the difference between objectivity and subjectivity. And the author made a really good point that, while objectivity has a place in science, in science, it doesn't necessarily have a place in every other aspect of our lives. And when we obsess about objectivity, we're actually doing ourselves a disfavor because of how we're not honoring and recognizing the importance of our actual experience, because we're trying to adhere to something significant. And so that's quote unquote objective. And so I think that's really important to recognize around something like a holiday. New Year's is ultimately both an objective and a subjective experience. It's an objective experience because people have consensually agreed, in general, almost pretty much unanimously, that this is the marking of one calendar year to another. Now, there may be some cultures somewhere on this planet that don't care. Like there may be some tribes that still haven't been of indigenous people that still haven't been quote unquote discovered, that could care less about the marking of one day to another, and oh, it's 2024. They may not even know that it's 2024, and they probably don't even care, and good for them. But in general, most of us would objectively say, well, it's the end of 2023, the beginning of 2024. Okay. But subjectively, we nonetheless invest our emotions and our thoughts and our ideas into this experience about this holiday. And we're like, oh, okay, this holiday is significant. Well, what's significant about this holiday is you and your choice to make it significant. That's what's significant. And I think if people recognize this objective subjective distinction and recognize this in regards to a holiday, we can also apply it to other areas of our magic. Again, I'm going to be writing an article about this on the Magical Experiments blog, so keep your eyes peeled. But it's interesting to me because I look at this holiday and I think about it in terms of working magic, and why do I work magic on this holiday? It's not like part of the wheel of the year or anything else like that. But then again, the wheel of the year is also somewhat subjective. I mean, yes, there are moments during the course of the year that we can objectively say, yes, the sun is at its lowest point. That was just the winter solstice, right? And now it's starting to wax again, slowly but surely. The days are getting longer, the nights are getting shorter, et cetera, et cetera. And we can look at different points of the year and say, yes, these moments have significance on an objective level, but subjectively, they also have significance. And the subjective experience plays just as important a role as any of the objective experience. So I think that that's something that we need to pay attention to. So what are you going to do for this holiday, magically speaking? What is going to make this holiday powerful for you? Well, that's the question that I'm going to leave you with here to think about. And it's interesting because I think that a holiday is only as any specific day is only as distinctive as you make it. Each day has significance because you make that day have significance. So I could make January 2nd be as significant as January 1st. I could make January 3rd be as significant as January 1st. What's in a day? The main difference is that some people will say, well, the main difference is that January 1st is significant. And I would say, well, yeah, it is, because we've all agreed to making it significant, but we could make another day just as important. Let's apply that to magic, and let's just agree that what makes magic significant is in part a subjective aspect. Of course, I'm asking you to objectively agree to that, but there's a subjective aspect to magic. And so, like this holiday, you're going to do some magic around it. What is going to make it significant? Well, I would say it's what you choose to do with the energy of that day. For me, I'm going to create a collage. I'm going to create a collage for myself. I'm going to create a collage for my relationship. I'm going to chart the course of the theme of what I want 2024 to become. That's the significance of the holiday. And sit with that for a moment and really consider, like, what are your own spiritual practices around a day like New Year's Day. You could make it very significant. Everyone can make it significant. The significance what is what you choose to create and define. How you choose to make it important matters just as much as anything else. And I think that's really the key distinction here. Okay, that's it for this particular video. If you are still on here, feel free to like it, so subscribe, leave a comment, and share your thoughts. And remember that today is just as significant as tomorrow or the day after, if you want it to be, and that you can make any day a holy day, a holiday, a spiritual day, a day of power. Or you can just stick with the specific day and that's already there, and use the group mind, the group consciousness, the tension that everyone is putting into that day, and make that part of your magical work. Either way, have fun. And happy new year, and see you next year. If unless you watch this video next year, then hopefully I'll see you sooner than that.